We are live and we are back from the Tap-In Tavern in Bismarck, North Dakota. It's the Bobcats Coaches Show for the first time in the 2022-23 season before it even begins. My name is Corey Barbarian. Layne Sedevie is with us, Bobcat head coach, set to begin the new season. Preseason begins on September 9th, and the regular season begins on September 14th. Layne, it's been a long time since our last Coaches Show, 4+ months. How have you been?
Good. Had a good summer, and excited to get back. I mean, we got a good group of our guys back that that made a great run at the end of the year, and some new faces too. So it's been a good few days here, and excited to get back at it.
What was the highlight of your summer?
I don't know. Just trying to. The one highlight for me is going to Knoxville. It's probably the coolest thing to me is as a sprint car fan to see the best sprint car racers and drivers in the world at the sprint car capital of the world. To a lot of people, they don't understand what that is, but my dad took me to the racetrack as a young kid, and it's been in my blood ever since. So I had a couple good fishing trips, and it was a good summer.
Seems like every time you're watching something on your phone, it is some sort of racing, right? Whether it's on the dirt, sprint cup, doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's one of those things. We used to go to the track, and, we used to drive to Minot every weekend, and, it's just one of those things where I've always, ever since I was a little kid, it's just something I've been interested in. So it's a lot of fun, and obviously, not just to me, but he is one of the greatest of all time. Donnie Schatz grew up in Minot, is from Fargo now, so that's kind of cool. I mean, that's the main guy that I follow.
At what point did you finally realize that, okay, hockey's ramping up and it's time to get going?
I think probably, the last couple weeks here, it just seems like everything, with sponsors and you well know, I mean, you've only been here a few days, but tickets and the emails start to roll in, and I think that's when you get a feel for dealing with phone calls from parents, making sure their kids travel the country to get here and have all the information that they need. To me, that's when it definitely gets real.
Do you feel like you need at least a few weeks off every season?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a thing that I probably laugh at the most, is everybody says, well, what do you do for, your real job? And it never stops, and that's kind of the reality of it. That's why, I take a 10-day vacation in August, and it's usually the only vacation that I take, unless there's something with the family. So to me, the month of August is, it's a time where you can try and not think about stuff. It's hard. It's part of the job. It's one of those things where you just, I would say probably 85% of my job is dealt with through my phone, and players call, agents call, parents call. It just it's really hard to get away and turn it off per se. So I think that's one of the good things I've learned over time, is just that you have to do your work. You have to put all all your resources in and recruiting and that stuff. But when you get time away, to me, you have to try and turn it off.
So if an agent calls you about a player you've been looking at day one of your vacation, you're not going to answer till day 10?
Yeah, you answer the phone. That's the unfortunate part about the job, because you just can't not, you can't not take that call, or you just never know when when the next piece of your team is going to be put into place. So you just try and enjoy it as much as you can.
We saw you over the past, really the entire second half of last season, while the Bobcats were on their winning ways, making the playoffs, forcing St. Cloud to Game 5. You off the ice were focusing on something different in the summer that would eventually get to a climax of running a marathon. How'd that go?
Yeah, it was really good. It's my third one, so ran Grandma's in Duluth again. Really cool event. That was probably, one of the other, I guess, times of vacation with the family. My mom was able to come with, and Lena's mom, and Letty, was able to run a race. My wife ran a half. So, the race went really good. My previous marathon, Duluth, didn't go so good, and this one was much better. So, it's a lot of time and effort. I mean, it's kind of crazy. I got Hunter training for a marathon now, and maybe it's the coach in me, but I think it's awesome to watch somebody go through that, and until you've really put in the time and realize how much time it takes, and how hard it is, almost like being a coach more than actual runner. And I run a lot, so but it's been fun to see him. He's done really well, and we're close to 7-8 weeks into training. So I think October 15th we're going to run the Mankato Marathon, and he ran his first. Made it to 14 miles today, so he ran his first half marathon ever in his life. And I know there's not, it's not a race he doesn't get credit for, but it's definitely an accomplishment, that's for sure.
So you ran all 26 miles then in Duluth?
100%.
All 26 miles. Which one's the hardest?
The last 6. My training was really good for this one. The race went really well. So I ran at about an 8:19 pace, which is a 3 hours and 40-minute marathon. So pretty respectable that way. But yeah, I mean, when you do a marathon, the last 6 is, to me, the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It's just it turns into, where you can't feel your legs. The mental game is hard to describe, and when you go to one of those races and you see people, whether they're running their first marathon or their 50th or they're trying to qualify for Boston, it's really inspirational to watch that. I think that's probably what got me addicted to it.
Is there such a thing as the runner's high?
100%. Yeah.
When do you get that?
I mean, I think it's when you're done running. I think you feel good too. I mean, that's I don't think it's any secret. I've been like a roller coaster with weight problems, and now I've really started to focus on my nutrition and that sort of side of it. So, running has been something that's kind of kept me even keel with that part of my life. So, but it's addicting, and I guess I could be addicted to worse things.
So Laz has been training. Hunter Laslo, the assistant coach, you'll hear from him in just a moment, for a marathon as well. 2 more months to go until Mankato rolls around during the bye week in the middle of October. He's excited for it. So you're eight weeks in, you said, to training. It'll be about 15, 16 by the time you actually run it. Is that enough time?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, he was running before. Usually, most plans are 16 to 18 weeks for a marathon. So, we're starting to get into the meat and potatoes of our runs, which is, we go 14. So every week you do a long run. So we're 14 this week, and next week we're 16. The following we do an 18. And then you do a drop back week down to somewhere around probably a 13, and then we go for a 20 and so forth. So, but he's done really well to this point, and he's almost got a very similar path to me. I would have never started running if it wasn't for my wife. My wife has run, the major marathons, Chicago, Twin Cities, like 20 half marathons, and I hated running. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't. I remember going back, and my first mile was 11 minutes, and Hunter's kind of the same way. Not a runner, didn't run a lot. Went for a few runs with me last year, and by the time we were game 57, 58 in North Iowa, we were running 4-6 miles a day, no problem. So. I think he's starting to enjoy it. I don't know. This week's been tough on him. As far as getting into some of the longer runs and stuff like that. But I mean, I think it's cool to see him. I mean, at the end of the day, there's not many people that can say they've ran a marathon, and that's it's one of the to me, it's one of the hardest things to do.
Are you the type of people to, after you run a half marathon, put that 13.1 bumper sticker on your car?
I've never done that. I will post, a long run, maybe on my story on Instagram, or, a post of on Instagram. I guess I'm not a big. It's weird. Running's very, very individual. It's very by yourself. It's to me, that's probably the part I like about the most is just time to think, time to kind of clear your brain and just go out there, and it's just you and the pavement. So yeah, I don't know. It's just something picked up, and I haven't stopped doing it.
Is it possible to have a bad run?
100%. Ask Hunter.
How does that work?
It's hard to describe, and leading up to this week, he had no bad runs. He was doing fantastic. I thought, he's going to run under a 4-hour marathon, and that's the benchmark. To run under a 4-hour marathon is, probably 60% of people can't, let alone run a marathon, but they can't run under 4 hours. And a couple runs this week, he struggled. He made it through, and the big thing for me is I kept telling him, there's no shame in walking, and at the end of the day, you just can't get injured, because as a runner, you have good runs, you have bad runs. It's the whole culmination of your training plan for a marathon, and that's the whole key. So, that's what I was trying to relay him, to him today when his quads were failing on him, and we're at mile 12, and I just said, hey, I just, whatever you do, if it's pain, if it's real pain, you need to stop, because we can take a step back and we can reset and keep going. But yeah, there's bad runs. I mean, the worst runs are when you get dehydrated. Your body literally, it seizes. And my first marathon in Duluth, I was vomiting at mile 22. I couldn't move my legs, and it can turn. You learn a lot about your body in 26 miles, and it can turn bad in a hurry. That's for sure.
It's still a huge achievement, though, getting to 22 miles, even though it ended that way.
No, I finished it. There was no way I wasn't going to finish it. But Byron, I know it's the running joke between Byron and Layne that we're at Duluth, and there's 20,000 people at Duluth, and here I am projectile vomiting in front of all these people.
You weren't the only one, I'm sure.
No, and it's one of those things that I don't know. Sometimes to me, I'd rather run in wind out here, 40-mile-an-hour wind than the humidity. It drains you so much.
Bobcat head coach Layne Sedevie with us on the Coaches Show, preseason edition. Year number 13 now for you?
I think so.
We're kind of losing track now.
Yeah, it's been a long time, that's for sure.
Last year was a great year. Bobcats rebound from a tough first half, make the playoffs, nearly win 5 games in St. Cloud. They get bounced in the first round and return plenty of guys for this year. Your 13th year as a Bobcat. What did last year do for you as far as forcing you to work hard as a coach and get a group of guys who won 3 of their first 17 games into a playoff spot?
I mean, I think it was probably by far the worst I've had experience and the best I've had. And to me, it's even better than winning Central Division championships and playing for a Robertson Cup. I mean, what that group did, it meant the world to this organization. They never quit. I mean, that's just the reality of it. I mean, it was one of those things where, usually they call the dog days of junior hockey, and I would say in March, it was not for us. I mean, it was the first four months of the season were the dog days for us. I mean, it was put it this way, losing's not easy, and when you can't even split on a weekend, or I think at one point, maybe almost to Christmas time, I think we had maybe 3 road wins. I don't even know if we had that. I know we had never swept on the road, and to me, just seeing the guys actually buy in, keep improving. I mean, that's what you want to see as a coach, and they did a phenomenal job. And I think this city really rallied around it. It was a great story, and just a lot of fun to be a part of it. It's something that for me, it's probably at the top of my memories as a Bobcat fan. I mean, Game 59, Game 60, huge snowstorm, the nerves waiting for it. It was a special run, that's for sure.
I feel like everyone who is involved in it in some way, even just guys who watched it, maybe it was here at the Tap-In Tavern or at the VFW or up in Minot, is going to remember games 59 and 60 for the rest of their time as a sports fan.
Yeah, I think it's, a lot of years maybe you're either locked in at, we've had in the past where we've been, a top seed, or, you look at the, 2 of the 3 years prior, and, you know, we were 1-2 with Aberdeen, and there's no, like, you know, I mean, maybe the anticipation or the drama, and you know, last year had everything. I mean, it was one you'd write a story about, I think, when it's all said and done. If there was a 30 for 30 in junior hockey, it would probably be at one of the front ones, and I say that for the good things that happen and not the bad things that happen. So it's pretty cool to be a part of that, and to I don't know, it's just one of those things where I just keep reflecting on, you know, certain things throughout the course of the year, and certain goals guys scored, and it was just it was crazy when it was all said and done. You know, you watch the footage of Game 60, and I mean, how happy the guys were, and everything they worked for just to have a chance, and that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to, you know, nobody gave us a chance. Everybody was, you know, wrote us off, you know, in probably January, and to find a way. I mean, that's what those guys did.
Is there a defining moment for you?
Well, I think for me, the defining moment, and it's late, but the goal that John Ziski scored in that game, in Game 57, which, you know, we had played well in Game 56 in North Iowa, and kind of had the game, I would say, in our hand, and somehow in Game 57, you know, they jumped us. They sent their D off the bench, and, you know, they had two legitimate D left, and somehow the game was 1-1, and I'm just sitting on the bench. We're outplaying them. They're getting some chances, so it's kind of scary, and I'm just thinking, like, is this the game that's going to seal our fate? And kind of a harmless play, skates up the ice, and I don't know if, you know, if he didn't see it or what, but to me that was like, all right, now, because you can say everything's in your own hands, but everything really wasn't until after that game and what had happened in Minot. So that was, to me, the point where I was like, okay, this is something that is definitely possible.
You guys lost in Aberdeen on April 1st. 3 goals by their defenseman. The game-winning goal was from center ice. Bad hop on the goalie. Bobcats had to win their last 5 games of the season and get St. Cloud playing for absolutely nothing to go to Minot playing for everything and beat them twice. And all of that came into place. It just seemed like with the snowstorm and everything, Minot being the one team you guys had not swept, not beaten on the road whatsoever, just seemed like everything had that storybook ending, in that the final hurdle for a team of first would be get their first sweep over Minot and make the playoffs on that.
Yeah, and I mean, we were in a playoff spot all year long.
Yeah. Every
other team was in a playoff spot. All the 5 other teams were in a playoff spot at some point during the season. And for us to clinch it in Game 60 is, you know, it was hard to me to think. I would say it's probably the first time where we have advanced, and I thought to myself, are we going to have anything left? With how hard we had to push, every point, every goal against, every goal for, it just felt so weight-bearing on the guys. And I would say that was probably the one thing that was really lurking in the back of my mind. But, you know, I think when you look at the playoff series, it was a heck of a series. I mean, Oscar was fantastic. We battled back. We found ways. And again, we were 5 minutes away from beating them in our building. So, you know, and to me, just the cool part about that is, I mean, look at the crowds in the playoffs. I mean, look at the crowds down the stretch. I mean, I haven't seen that. I mean, we have great fans. Ever since I was a kid here, you know, going to the rink, the fans have always been great. They've always supported us. But some of those crowds at the end of the year and in playoffs were, to me, as good as it gets in junior hockey. It's what makes Bismarck such a special place to play for a player. And really the kudos goes to all the fans, all the sponsors, everybody that makes this thing tick. Obviously last year, a special year, 25th anniversary. And who knows, maybe that's the reason why everything had a storybook ending in the way it worked out. But, yeah, I mean, that was, you know, Game 60. It was I just remember going out to the bus, and I don't know how many text messages that I had, but it was just a line of text, and it was cool to see so many people watching, so many college coaches, like you said, I mean, all the Tap-In staff here had it on, and the buzz around the city was really cool.
5 consecutive sellouts to end the season. Final 3 games of the regular season, 2 playoff games, all sold out, standing room only. How many teams in this league can say they've sold out 5 games in any season, let alone 5 in a row? And that's not the first time that's happened. Is that the best stretch of crowds you can recall in 12 years?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's I think we had some fantastic ones when we were in the playoffs with Austin. Those are the ones that kind of stick out in my mind previously, and obviously the Russia game was absolutely amazing. But this end of this year, the buzz around the city, it's like you turned into for our guys into a mini celebrity in Bismarck, North Dakota. So just to me, that's the cool part about what this town has to offer. I mean, I don't say this disrespectful, but our other sports here are so dang good. When you look at high school sports, when I was growing up here, and they still are, football and wrestling and basketball, and I just don't necessarily consider us a hockey city, but the fans and the support have been with us for so long, and to me, that's what makes it so special, that this program has been here for so long, and not only has it given the fans hopefully what they wanted, but they've supported us and given everything back, which is, I mean, really what the cool part is in junior hockey. I mean, these kids are coming from all over the world trying to get a scholarship to play Division I hockey, and they're the ones that make it possible.
With that all said, what does it mean for the dozen-plus returners that we have on the roster this year? Guys like Patrick Johnson, Nico, Chmelevski, they'll both be on our show later on in the bottom of the hour. What does it mean for those guys having represented the Bobcats and Bismarck the way they did last year in terms of how it'll fall in their hands as leaders for this year?
Well, I think it's a big part. I mean, you can, that's the other thing. I was so pumped because we had so many possibilities of guys coming back. And usually if you can get that 10 to 12 guys come back off a roster and they got playoff experience, now they know what to expect. And to me, that's so crucial. I mean, you see it in the National Hockey League. And it's like when Colorado won the first, I'm not betting against Tampa. Who would bet against Tampa after they won it back-to-back? They're not worried. They're not afraid. They know they got to win game 2. They don't win game 2, they got to go back to their building, win game 3 and 4, like they did in the previous series. I mean, just the experience for these guys to have that. And I told the guys that are leaving our program, I said that's gonna benefit you in your playing career somehow, some way. It's gonna do wonders for you when you're put in that situation. You're gonna know what to expect. It's not gonna smack you in the face, and you're not gonna be sitting there going, what if, what if, what if. Now, I've been through it. I know how to prepare. And you talk about Nico and Patty, and they're going to wear both C's. Obviously, Patty did last year, and Nico's going to wear a C this year. So you can, you can talk to him about that leadership role. But I looked at it as now they know what to expect. They know how hard to work, and there's not just those two. There's a good group here that know how hard it is to not only win games, but to have a good season, to understand the grind of junior hockey, the 7-8 month process of what it takes, traveling down the road every weekend. And that's where I look at as leadership, and on a day-to-day basis, showing up to the rink, making sure we get our work done. You have young kids on our team this year. We have a couple high school kids. Helping them out if they have issues, if they have problems, and really if anybody on our team does. I think that's where you look for that leadership to really insert themselves, and hopefully they do a fantastic job. I thought our leadership group did a great job last year. One of the big reasons why we got to where we got, but it's nice to have 2 of those guys back as leaders and be able to relay those messages to the new guys.
All the guys just got here on Sunday. Couple games or a couple days of workouts. First ice time practice was this morning. Any very early thoughts?
Yeah, just excited to get started, really. I mean, it's I don't put a lot of value in probably our first few times on the ice. I think it's one of those things where when you give them the workload that we have early on here, you know, guys are going to be tired, and to me, the biggest thing is getting in skating shape, and that's the big thing. I mean, I don't think there's anything that you can replicate to get into that where your lungs have the wind. So, we're kind of gonna work them into it here this week. We got on the ice the first time today, and then we got the rest of the week here, and then we got a full week again next week, which we've never had, and we brought them in a week early this year because everything's crammed so much. And to me, I think it's a good decision. I mean, we got a lot of guys that are hungry from last year's team that wanted to get back and wanted to get after it. And I think it's really going to benefit instead of cramming everything into next week, trying to get, you know, testing done and get our baseline set for the weight room on the ice. We can kind of go about the way I look at this week. This is kind of a wash week to where I don't have expectations. Next week we have a full week to teach. We have a full week to run systems. We have a full week to do anything that we want to prepare. Then we have, you know, another week where, you know, we can you know, fine tune those things. We get a midweek game, midweek scrimmage against Aberdeen, a couple more days, then we play Minot, and it's just not so crammed to where it's like, okay, we're on the ice, we're training, they're doing their testing at Sanford, and next thing you know, we got to go to Watford City, and it's like we haven't even done anything. So that to me is the nice part about having the extra week.
All right, Layne Sedevie, Bobcat head coach, thanks so much.
Thanks, Corey.
All right, Hunter Laslo joins us in just a moment. Again, the Bobcats taking on Minot in Watford City September 9th and 10th. That's a Friday and Saturday weekend-ish pregame or preseason series. Also a midweek scrimmage. It's on Tuesday, the 6th of September against Aberdeen. There will be no TV or radio for that, just a scrimmage, but it's free admission. Open doors, come on by lunchtime or so at the VFW Sports Center on the 6th of September. That is a Tuesday. All right, Hunter Laslo joining us in a couple of minutes. This is the Bobcat Coaches Show. Coaches Show on Super Talk 1270. Hunter Laslo joins us on the program. How's it going, Laz?
I'm doing well, Corey. It's been a while. It's good to see you.
When was your last time here at the Tap-In Tavern? It wasn't our last Coaches Show, was it?
No. Probably about 2 weeks ago, maybe, for an hour or two.
Okay.
I stopped in with Layne and Danny. Had a beverage and might have dabbled in a machine, maybe.
There you go. Well,
yep.
Toph always treats us right.
That's right.
All right, Laz, off season. You got around, obviously, a couple of tryout camps, main camp in the Minneapolis area.
Yep.
Went home to Michigan, so on. You nearly went to my home state of New Jersey, but you didn't. Good for you. How was your summer?
It was good. It blew by. It was a quick one. On the road quite a bit. Obviously with our 3 camps that we host ourselves, and then getting around to a couple other USHL ones. Just trying to obviously watch talent, some of our guys, and obviously prospective guys. So filled up pretty quickly. A lot of travel, but was able to see, obviously on the personal side, some friends and family, which was good. But really excited, obviously, to have the guys back in the building and see what the squad looks like this year, from obviously a returning group and the new guys that are looking to crack the lineup this year.
Well, Layne said he wasn't really able to take some true time off, or at least extended time off. Is that kind of the same thing for you?
Yeah, really, obviously my first year in Bismarck and the first off season fully. I showed up, as soon as the guys got here last year, similar to you.
Yeah.
And so it happened really quick, and I didn't really have any hand in the off season duties and responsibilities. So this summer, being my first, was able to get a good grasp on that and the camps and all that kind of stuff, and working to put together a team with Nico, who obviously does a lot of our legwork and does an awesome job, but was able to obviously be a part of that, which was always nice. And so yeah, it was a busy one. It flew by in terms of, it felt like you didn't take any time off. The only difference is now you got 25 plus guys in the building that are there with you, and then we added you to the office. It was a long summer with Brad and myself just in the office. It was a little empty in there.
Even Layne wasn't there?
He would stop in from time to time. No, he would. Yeah, it was a quick summer. Blew by, busy, and obviously excited to be back and get rolling again.
So what's a Bismarck summer like for the out-of-town viewers?
We had some hot days this summer. Got to go out on Layne's boat a little bit. Layne and I took a fishing trip out into Montana with Mark Erickson, who's also one of our sponsors in Missouri River Basin. Yep. A good friend of Layne, longtime childhood friend, and became a good friend of mine as well. Took us fishing and had a good time there. And other than that, I think I heard you mention with Layne earlier, started training for a marathon that him and I are going to run in October. So a lot of running, getting outside. But really other than that, the days filled with work, and then at night just relaxing, enjoying that little downtime, especially on the weekends before we get started here in the next 8+ months or hockey every weekend. So was just enjoying that little bit of downtime when we got it. But it was a nice summer. Can't complain.
Are your quads feeling okay?
Quads are good. Yep, we're recovering as we speak, so we're all good there.
October, was it 15th, the Mankato Marathon during the Bobcats off week, the bye week there. Began training back in June or so. When you saw Layne build up the way he did for 3-4 months to run that marathon in Duluth and finish all 26 miles, did that inspire you to sign up for this one?
I wouldn't say exactly. I do think it's incredible for anyone that's done it. Now that I'm into the training, it's very hard work. You think you get to the 5-6 miles and you think you've done a good job, and then you start working into the 10s, the 12s, the 14-mile runs in the training, and you finish those 14, and then you're like, holy cow, I got to do that again, another one of those basically. So it's definitely challenging, but since I've stopped playing, obviously, it's been good to have something that's new and that's challenging that I can work for, and it keeps me in shape, and that shape hopefully isn't round. So I'm trying to stay in shape and all that, but it's been good. I'm enjoying it so far. We'll see how I feel in October, but haven't missed a day yet, and enjoying it, and it's nice having Layne with me, helping me along the way too.
I think we all want to wish you a happy belated birthday, by the way. Yesterday you turned, what, 23, 24?
I wish. Thank you, but 27. I might look a little older now that I've got no hair on my head.
He's 27, folks.
I'm 27, I promise. But yeah, I appreciate it, Corey. Thank you.
So what happened when Layne took you out to Texas Roadhouse?
Well, he has an adorable daughter, Letty, who's very convincing, and her favorite place is Texas Roadhouse, and she loves the rolls. And her favorite thing is the hot dog. But when Layne, of course, he had an agenda before we even got there.
He always does.
And I should have known, but I didn't pick it up in time. And as soon as we walked in, his daughter and him both mentioned the saddle, which I know you're familiar with because I know the guys that put you on the saddle for your birthday. But unfortunately,
My birthday.
I'm a people pleaser, and Letty asked me to hop on the saddle, so I did it. That's not my scene. I don't like being the center of attention in a restaurant, being screamed at. But it was all in good fun, so it was good.
So was it actually a good Texas Yeehaw, or was it underwhelming?
Well, thank God we were in the corner of the restaurant, not dead center. So I think a lot of people were distracted with their meals, which I appreciate deeply. So whoever that hostess was that put us in the corner of the room, I can't thank her enough.
It seems like every time we go to Texas Roadhouse, it's someone's birthday, even if it's not someone's actual birthday. Only, it actually was your birthday yesterday, and you got to celebrate by having a 4-year-old daughter of Layne convince you to get on the saddle, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, she can be pretty convincing. So, and I really don't need too much influence to jump on the train. So I hopped on, and I'll tell you what, I'm glad it's over. I'm glad it's not my birthday anymore. So now we just go back to sitting in a restaurant and eating a normal meal.
There we go. So at what time during the off season did the fact that hockey's coming along, you missed the sport, finally hits you?
Probably once you get into your first camp of the off season, when it's all said and done. Obviously, a little disappointing in the way it ended last year, but it gives you time that first couple weeks after the season, especially those first couple days, to give you time to reflect and kind of analyze on some things that happened during the year and at the end, and in that St. Cloud series where we had a chance in Game 4 and. Obviously, it didn't turn out the way we wanted it to, but it gives you time to reflect, and then you take a little bit of time off to try to obviously reset and decompress, and then it's awesome, right? Pretty much right away, as soon as you step in another rink and see some guys again, familiar faces, I get the itch right away, and then at that point, then you're just itching for it to come because you want the camps to be over with, and you want to be back in your building with your guys and working towards the ultimate goal.
Any early impressions on a dozen-plus returners or so having the first practice today, the first 3 workouts earlier this week?
Yeah, I think we look strong. We look in shape for the most part. Was really impressed with the off-ice testing that we do at Sanford Power, and our trainers over there, Riv, and a lot of the other guys do a really good job. And it's tough, and I was impressed. I think starting off was much better than last year, and then moving into the on-ice portion, I liked the pace today. I thought it was sharp. Definitely still need to get our legs under us a little bit, but I liked the pace. I thought we made some good passes. There was good flow to the skate today, and then so we'll just build off that. It's a good first day. Nothing too high, nothing too low, right where you want to be as we move into the rest of the week here.
Are you teaching these guys anything this first week?
I wouldn't say we're not, but a lot of it is evaluation. We obviously have more guys than we can keep on a roster, as do every team in the league, and it's still another tryout. Just because you made it to training camp doesn't guarantee you a spot on the roster. So we're looking to see who steps up to the plate and deserves and earns that spot for a roster spot. So that's the biggest thing. We're just intently watching. I know there's a lot of guys out there, so we're trying to keep our eyes on as many guys as we can, obviously, and that's a big part of this first, I would say, week or so, is making sure you get multiple looks at guys and seeing how guys match up with each other and whatnot at each position. So there's definitely some coaching and teaching in there for sure. Obviously, once we get into next week at some point before our preseason games, put in some more systems, and that's really when the coaching and the teaching will start. For the first couple days, we're just trying to get them moving, trying to get everyone's legs back in them, shake off the rust a little bit from when they were at main camp, and then build into next week where we look on to Aberdeen and then Minot.
Patty and Nico, your 2 captains. Thoughts on those guys?
Obviously, Patty, one of our captains from last year, and Nico in an assistant role. Both awesome kids, play the game the right way. Have a lot of great leadership, and they're guys that Layne and I trust. We had talked about it throughout the year last year and this off season, and it was kind of a no-brainer for us. They're guys that we look to in the locker room to kind of steer the ship in the right direction, and they've earned that right to do so. So I think we're really happy with with those two guys in that position, and we know that they can steer the ship in the locker room if it starts to get the wrong way. We trust those guys to make sure everyone gets in line, and we all start working towards the same thing.
All right, Laz, thanks so much.
Thanks, Corey.
All right, we'll hear from the two captains, Patrick Johnson, Nico Chmelevski, on the Coaches Show when we come back. All right, back on the Bobcat Coaches Show at the Tap-In Tavern. Nico Chmelevski joins us, one of the Bobcats' two co-captains. How are you, Nico?
Good, Corey. How are you doing?
Doing great. How was your summer?
Was good, Spent a lot of time golfing, getting ready for the season. What about you? How was your summer?
I didn't do any golfing, but was missing hockey.
Yeah.
What's your handicap down to now?
I don't want to talk about it. It's brutal.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I'm not too good at golf, but I enjoy it.
I know Patty's a pretty good golfer. He's coming up next.
Yeah, Patty's a really good golfer. He never lets me go with him.
Really?
Yeah, it's too good for me.
Too good for you. So
Too good.
So he would be just waiting for you at every hole.
Exactly, yeah.
How's Ilya doing?
Ilya's doing good. He's got camp with Niagara Ice Dogs coming up. He's working hard this summer, worked out with me and my older brother, so he's doing really good.
So Nico's younger brother, folks, Ilya, who was 15 last year when he was with the
16,
Bobcats.
yeah.
Was he 15 last year or 16?
16.
Okay. 16 last year. Either way, that's pretty young for a guy in this league. With the Bobcats for a couple of preseason games and regular season, now in the OHL. So great to see him doing well. How about Sasha?
Sasha's doing good. He's actually playing in the KHL this year for Ufa Salavat. He's very excited there. He's there right now, and it's going to be a good fit for him there.
Are you guys able to follow each other around every night or at least close to it?
Well, we communicate. Obviously, the time change is, I think, 9 or 10 hours, but whenever I wake up, he's usually about to go to bed, so I talk to him for a few minutes,
Cool. What's it been like, getting back here, meeting all the guys, Patty, obviously your co-captain, and just getting acquainted once again for your third full season, I should say?
It's really good. I mean, we got a great group of guys here. We had a great few days of testing. The trainers told us that the testing this year was a lot better than all the other years, so everyone's really hungry. They want to be good this season, and it's good to see everybody.
Did you do your part in getting those testing scores up?
Yeah, definitely.
So what kind of tests are they?
We do a broad jump, vertical jump. We do a shuttle run, like a 5-10-5, a 20-yard sprint, and then the last one's usually a 300-yard shuttle.
Which one's your best?
I would say the 5-10-5 I did pretty good with this year. I was really happy about that. The 300-yard shuttle is the hardest one. It's definitely a lot of conditioning, but it's the one that makes a man. So
how do you keep in shape then during the off season when you're not skating every day?
Just doing it in the gym. You know, I had a really good workout trainer this summer, and we did a lot of strength tests, a lot of strength, a lot of running. So getting ready for the season.
As far as the season goes, I mean, you've got a dozen or so returners for this year. Obviously, Patty, who you were with last year, both wearing letters, now the C's this year. What excites you about the guys you have coming back and some of the new guys, too?
You know, with the season ending last year, with the run we made, everyone's really excited to go into this season. All the returners want to do good. We want more. We don't want to just get knocked out in the first round. We want to be champions. So everyone's really dialed in for that. And the new guys, they want to compete. They're here for the right reasons, and we're really excited.
Do you feel like those 2 Minot games, the final 2 games of the regular season, are like the best hockey memory for you?
100%. I mean, just winning that game at home and then on the road, and then splashing Tom in the locker room, it was unbelievable. They were such a huge rival of us. They were beating us almost every game at the beginning of the year, and we were able to beat them in the last game to make playoffs. It was amazing.
Does something like that, make you just, as soon as you get knocked out of the playoffs and go back home to Michigan, does something like that, being a part of that team, just make you want to get back at it right away in Bismarck?
100%. You just last year we should have went farther. We just ran out a lot of gas. So, with season ending, it was definitely a heartbreak. But with the guys coming back, when you have a lot of guys coming back, we want to get going for this next season.
As far as you're concerned individually, what's your goal?
Oh, obviously it's my last year of junior hockey, and I wanna be able to play college hockey next year. But I'm not really focused too much individual this year. I want to be part of a winning team. I want to be part of a championship team.
All right. Patty on the other side for the other captain here. You played with him. You've been on the line with him. What does he need to do to, work with you and keep this team straight?
Patty's a great leader. He proved that last year. He proved that his first year. He's a great player. He's a great teammate. I love playing with him. I love competing against him in practice. He always brings out his best, and he just got to keep doing his thing, and success will come to him.
All right. Nico Chmelevski, thanks so much.
Thank you, Corey.
All right. Patty Johnson joining us to wrap up the Bobcat Coaches Show in a moment. All right, wrapping up the Bobcat Coaches Show with Patrick Johnson, second-year Bobcat co-captain. Your third full year already here in Bismarck, Patty. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. I want to give you a chance to respond to Nico's golf allegations that you won't let him golf with you.
I was literally just telling him we golfed with each other last year. A couple of times. It probably wasn't as much as it should have been possibly, but I mean I've only played 2 rounds here since I've been here, but I'm sure we'll get out together. So.
How was home for you in St. Louis?
Good. It was good to be back. Spent some time with my family, friends. It was just good to be home and kind of reset after last year. Especially with how long last year was with the start we had, and then towards the end it was flying by because we were having a blast out there. But it was definitely good to get home and reset. But definitely ready to come back and get things started again.
What was your average day like back home?
Typically I would wake up, work out, skate, and then usually go out, golf with some of my buddies or kind of just hang out. Nothing too crazy, really, to be honest.
You're 19 years old, and it's your 3rd year. You're going to get 4 years here in Bismarck potentially. What's it like potentially being, a 2-year captain this year, maybe 3 down the road, and having the chance to, be a Bobcat for life pretty much? Yeah,
it's definitely an honor to wear a letter on your jersey, and especially in this organization, it's been around forever, so it definitely means a lot to me, and it's definitely something I'm very proud of. But I mean, I love it here. I mean, I love the town of Bismarck. It's awesome. I mean, it's kind of just fun to find all the little nicks and knacks in the town and kind of just find things to do with all the guys. And I mean, can't really complain when you're spending every single day with your best friends and playing the game you love. So it's kind of hard to hate it here for me.
First week of workouts, 3 days in, you got your first skate this morning. What are your thoughts?
Good. I mean, I think we got a really good group of guys, a bunch of good people, and a bunch of guys that want to get better. So seems like everyone's ready to work. Everyone's ready to go. And today during our first skate, we were pretty crisp today. And I think it's kind of just up from here. And hopefully not a lot of lows this year. They definitely happen. But hopefully we can stay pretty consistent. And but I think we do have a really good group this year and a chance to do something pretty special. So.
What's it like having so many returners with playoff experience?
Yeah, it's definitely huge. I mean, you get a bunch of guys who basically were the worst team in the league to being arguably one of the best teams in the league. It's definitely pretty special to be a part of that and have a core 13 guys that have experienced that and been through that. It's definitely good for all the rookies and guys coming in from other teams to kind of see that and be around it. And it's definitely a culture we built throughout last year. And I think it's honestly special. I mean, I know last year we had 8, and then the year before that there was not that many returners. So this is the biggest amount of returners that I've been a part of, and I think it'll be pretty cool.
Do you feel like all the guys over the 4 months of off season really put their nose down and got better?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, coming off of last year, with how that ended, I think we're all unsatisfied with that. But I think everyone kind of figured out what it took to get to that next level to get to playoffs. I mean, it was game 60 out of 60, so we kind of grinded our way all the way through the entire season. So I think guys went back, maybe took a couple weeks to reset, and then kind of got back to work. And even in the gym, I mean, guys look way better, so pretty excited about it.
What was your favorite and least favorite Sanford test?
My favorite was probably, I don't know, maybe the pull-ups. I've usually been pretty good at pull-ups, so probably the least favorite is the shuttles. I mean, nobody likes 300-yard shuttles, so but yeah, probably those two.
What was your pull-up score?
I think I got 21.
In a row?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so I was happy with it.
You think Laz and Layne can do 21 in a row?
Laz said he can't do pull-ups. He's got 2 bad shoulders. I think that's an excuse, but I'll let Laz speak upon that whenever he gets back on here. But I don't know. Layne looks pretty good shape. He was repping out 225 on bench press a couple times. So I don't know. I didn't really ask Layne how many he could do, but I think he could do quite a bit.
Would you consider running a marathon with Layne and Laz?
Nope. I hate running. Running is probably my least favorite thing to do. I think it's so boring and so anticlimactic. There's nothing really to look forward to. That's why I don't like it.
All right, Patty Johnson. Hopefully hockey's going to be better for you than running.
Yes.
All right, thanks so much, Patty.
Thanks, Corey.
All right, that's all for the Bobcat Coaches Show. Again, be sure you're with us every Wednesday at 5 o'clock here on Super Talk 1270 in the Tap-In Tavern. The Bobcats' first scrimmage is Tuesday, September 6th. Lunchtime against Aberdeen at the VFW Sports Center. Free admission. Concessions will be open, so come by and have some lunch with the Bobcats. And then the Bobcats go to Watford City on the 9th and 10th, Friday and Saturday in September, for 2 preseason games with Minot. We're back Wednesday at 5 o'clock from the Tap-In Tavern. This has been the Bobcat Coaches Show.